Keyframes are one of the best tools to make your videos more capturing and smoother to
You
your
can also use
audience.
keyframe to
In
create something like this or something like this. And also, you can use keyframe to create something like this. Whew. In this video, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know about keyframe and explaining how we can use it to create animations and make our videos smoother and more engaging. Hi, my name is Queen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I post everything editing videos, editing hack, and how to use CapCut. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how to use keyframe to engage our audience. First off, what are keyframes? Keyframe is a tool you can use to make interesting animations and make your videos more interesting. For instance, you can use keyframe to create a zoom in or a zoom out. You can also use keyframe to create something like this or something like this. And also, you can use keyframe to create something like this. Whew, it's easier to understand when it's in action. But keyframe can be used to create certain things like a slow zoom in, a dramatic zoom in, a slow zoom out. You can also use keyframe to make things like move objects, move alphabet, and move your text. Alright, with all that being said and shown, let me teach you how to use keyframe on CapCut. I'm going to be showing how you can use keyframe to create every effect I said keyframe can be useful. So firstly, we're going to be starting with a slow zoom in. How you can use keyframe to create a slow zoom in. Firstly, this icon up here is our keyframe, and when I'm using that keyframe, that small tool there to create magic. So firstly, you have to add your keyframe to where you want the slow zoom in to start and end. And when you want where you want it to end, you add your keyframe and you zoom in, and you when you play it back, you see this slow zoom in. This is not quite very obvious, so let's use something very obvious where I'm in the frame, so it will look like it's zooming in. So I'm gonna be deleting this, and we're gonna do this again so we can see, we can make it more obvious and see how visible it is. So I'm going to delete this and add another keyframe at where I want it, the zoom in to start and where I want it to end. The spacing is for you to have time to slowly zoom in, so we have to give it space. So when you get to where you want it to stop, you zoom in, and when you play it back, you see this slow zoom in. Now you see this kind of graph line close to the keyframe is very important. It makes our effects very smooth. Whatever we just did with the keyframe, that graph makes it smoother, and it has a lot of options. The bounce 3, bounce 4, bounce 5, bounces, and they all work in different way. You can see the bounce 3 makes my video back and forth, and it comes in handy when it needs to come in handy. But the ones I mostly use is not the bounce 3 or the bounce 4 because I'm putting special effects. But if I'm not, what I mostly use is the cube ease, the quad ease, the ease, the linear, the ease in, the quad in, cube in, ease out, quad out, and so on. But I hardly get to the rebound or bounce, but I mostly use ease in, ease out, quad in, and most times linear. So for this effect, we're going to be using the quad out. If you play back the video, you will see the first time we didn't add the graph, it was zooming in, but it was not smooth. It had some like gaps and gallops, if I would say. But when we added the graph, it went smoother. It became smoother, and it just smoothly and slowly zoomed in. To create a dramatic zoom out or zoom in, as I say, you have to make the keyframe closer. So you place two keyframes close to each other, and you add your quad in or ease in to make it seamless. That's the word, seamless. So you add two keyframes close to each other. Remember, the first keyframe doesn't have an action, or else you want the action to start from there. But the second keyframe, you zoom in or you zoom out, whatever you want to happen, make sure you're applying that action on the second or the first keyframe, depending on what you want the action to be. So this is what I mean by placing the action either on the beginning or at the second keyframe, depending on what you're doing. So in this one, this is how you do a slow zoom out. I'm gonna placing my first action on my first keyframe by zooming into my video, and the second keyframe, I'm going to be returning the image back to how it was. That's the full ratio. So it's going to start from my face out. Now this is a little bumpy, so we're going to add the graph into it. So I'm going to choosing the ease out or the squad out, which of them, either of them works perfectly. So I'm going to be using the ease out, and this is going to make my video zoom out easily without the gap and the hiccup. I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna make the video zoom out easily and seamlessly. Next up is how we can change our video position without changing our camera position. So for to do that, all you have to do is add a keyframe at the beginning of your video and zoom in and make your object or character the main center of attraction while giving yourself space at the left or the right. Now in the second keyframe, you move your main object to the side by revealing that space that you kept hidden at the side. Now we're going to add an ease in to make it again seamless and graphical. So this is how it's going to be, easily moving without changing our camera position. We didn't have to do that. Keyframe did that in less than a minute. So that's how you can do it. Now let's move to how we can add a text to make this fun, because keyframe doesn't just work on our video, it works on our text too. So let's add a text to this to make it interesting. To add our text, we go to the add text tool and we're going to add the text to the video. So I'm going to be using keyframe as our keyword because it's the center of attraction today. I'm changing the font to a bolder font so it can be obvious, and after doing that we're going to add animation to it. So the keyframe is not to be used now, but you can use keyframe to slide your what's it called, text from left to right. But for this particular one, I'm going to be using animation because I'm going to use keyframe to do something else. So I wanted to add the slide right, but it comes from the other side, but I want it to flow with my video moving to the side. So we're going to change this and change it. We're going to search for what's it called, slide left. So that's going to rhyme with the video and follow the rhythm of our video. So we select slide left and reduce the speed at which it works on. So I need it to be as fast as the video, so it rhymes. So I reduced it to about 3 seconds, but it wasn't still rhyming well with my video. The video had already shifted to the left before the letter or the text came out. So I'm gonna tap this, go back to animations and reduce the speed again to about 1 second or so, and that should be rhyming with the video. But I felt like the white was not obvious, which looking at this now, I think it is obvious. But anyways, I went back and I changed the color, and this is how you like style your text, add colors to your text and all of that. So I went back to change the color and it was now, I think, given what I wanted. I tried out a lot of colors and I finally settled for yellow. I don't know why, but I settled for yellow, and when I checked it, it was working well. Now let's add keyframe to this. We've done animation on the text, but let's add keyframe to change whatever is going on here. So to add keyframe to your text, the same thing, we're going to add a keyframe at the beginning of our text and a keyframe not too far from the first keyframe to create a fast movement. So this keyframe is going to take up, down. Let's change it now. Cancel that keyframe, add another keyframe, and now we're changing what we did. We're moving the keyframe, the word, out of the screen. Now you're going to come right and go back. It's that fast because the keyframes are close. Remember, when two keyframes are close, the motion happens faster. When they are far apart, it's slower and more seamless. So I'm using this keyframe to zoom into my text. You see that the keyframe is going to zoom. Remember, we're still on the video, our keyframe is still moving side to side, but this is how you add keyframe to your text. All you have to do is add keyframe, the first one, the second one, you apply your action, and it works like that. It zooms in and it zooms out. Now let's move to something else. Keyframe can also be used to change the color grading of our video. For instance, I'm going to add a keyframe at the beginning and at the middle, and I'm going to go to adjust. When I get to adjust, tap on saturation, and I'm going to take saturation to 0, and it's going to be black. Like the image will go from colored to black and white. So now if you go back and play this video, you're going to see how it slowly moves from being colored and bright to black and white. Now let's take this back from color, black and white, back to color. I'm going to add another keyframe at this point here and go back to adjust, take our saturation back to 0 or 1, and it has taken the video back to the original color it was. So now this is going to move from colored black and white slowly into colored again. And that's how you can use keyframe to change your color grading in the middle of your video. Let's go to object. To add object or to move object to your video, you can either add it manually or use CapCut sticker. I'm using CapCut sticker. I search for camera and camera comes out. I want to tap that and CapCut adds it to my video. Now, having this on display on the screen, I'm going to add a keyframe to the sticker of the camera and make some effect on it. At the first, I'm going to do a zoom in and a zoom out, and also I'm going to move it around. So I had one keyframe at the beginning and another keyframe at the end and zoom it out, and this is going to create a slow zooming into the camera. Just repeat the whole thing and play with your keyframe to see what you can do and get with the keyframe. If you like this tutorial and videos like this, follow and subscribe for more, because I'm going to be dropping more tutorials about editing and how to use keyframe better. Thank you for watching. Bye.